Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to assemble the UHIC gunship from the battle set Operation Silver Bayonet. So if you're just joining or just checking out this vlog series, this is episode 2, so you really haven't missed anything. What I did in the previous video was ask the community to sort of weigh in and tell me what they think I should build first, and it was pretty much split between the tank and the helicopter, I think. And I think the helicopter, so, you know, it's a little bit intimidating with some of these finicky pieces. So I was like, let's get that out of the way. Let's dive in and do the perceived hard thing first. So what I'm going to do is just look at the instructions, and we're going to do a quick build. I'm going to use the power of editing to do a quick time lapse. I'll be back with some thoughts on the build and its construction, and then after that, I'll get into a bit of a paint guide and go over my process for that and what I'm thinking in regards to like the overall paint scheme. In the first video, I'd mentioned that I'm going to skip over using the decals that come with this set and instead do some hand painting. Maybe we'll do something that looks like this. I'm not sure yet. We're gonna kind of play it by ear, but we're gonna assemble the olive plastic first. After I get it all spray painted and put together, I'll install the clear plastic pieces last. This way they don't get damaged at all from the painting or glue. Cool. All right, let's dive on in. I'm going to spare you some of the boring parts here and speed through a lot of the clipping, just getting everything off the sprue and then sort of figuring out what to do first. I'm going to follow the instructions step by step, but it's really a bit of trial and error as I go through. So I'm going to use my Tamiya extra thin cement. Got that handy. I've got the instructions to the right of me, and I'm just going to put everything together. I'm going to speed through it. I'm not going to go over every single thing because it is finicky and it did take over 2 hours, but I'll pause at various points and give you some of my thoughts as I was assembling it. To begin though, the base of the hull included the chairs, the brake, the foot pedals, and the main dashboard, as well as the front of the hull. I have several different kinds of tweezers, and I felt this pair that I have here with the curved edge is helpful for getting into these like little nooks and crannies. Here I was using a bit of dry fitting to sort of get a sense for how everything was going to line up. It was a bit of foreshadowing that things weren't going to be as perfect as I would like. Here I am assembling the rotor mast as well as the engine casing that fits around it. It is like some things fit well together and didn't need a lot of glue, but the housing that you contain this spinning part in didn't exactly line up perfectly. It required a bit of shaving down. The whole model kit is honestly like that. Like, it's just not all perfect. And then it adheres to this flat piece right here, gets glued to essentially the back of the back wall of the interior of the hull, and there's not a ton of surface area to adhere it to, so it kept giving me some trouble. And I was able to glue the housing together without sacrificing mobility, so I can still rotate the blades, which I think is pretty essential for like a fun helicopter build, right? You want to be able to spin those blades. Once the engine was properly adhered, I set about to cleaning up any of the seam lines and then actually gluing together the two sides of the hull. After the hull was complete, I put together the exhaust of the engine that goes right behind the rotor blades. This went together pretty seamlessly at first, but afterwards I realized that there was just no amount of fiddling with it that was going to make it perfect on both sides. You get one side flush and even, the other side shifts. So that's where some gap fill could potentially come in and make it perfect. There's also this very thin piece of plastic that connects the front of the two pieces across the two, and there's no clear way to align them up except to just glue them. So cement glue is much preferred over something like super glue because it'll actually melt the plastics together rather than adhere them together with an adhesive bond. Honestly, the rest of the build from here is pretty straightforward until you get to the rocket pods, which become a bit of a pain in the neck because they don't exactly line up to the base of the hull like as they should. Like, there are two indentations on the bottom and they just don't line up no matter which way you turn them and bend them. So again, that liquid cement that melts the plastic is the way to go, rather than trying to like force fit the pieces. They were very finicky and kind of gave me some trouble, but even that wasn't that bad. Again, 2 hours for this whole build. If I had to build it again, I think it would go together. Probably get it built in less than an hour, knowing what I know now. Here's a quick shot of me installing the landing skids to the base of the hull. This does have 2 grooves for the actual skids to sit in, which is nice. Not everything has like good clear indentations of where pieces should fit together, so at least they had this. At last it was time to put together the rotor, and unfortunately the tail rotor blades do not move. There was no way to secure them and have them move without them easily falling out, so I just opted to glue them in place. The landing skids have these very small pieces that go on the front, and this was a bit finicky to put on, but I was able to assemble them without incident. It's just one of these little details that I feel like could have easily been molded onto the skids themselves, but for some reason they opted to make them separate, so you have to glue them on. And it's just one of those little things with modeling where I'm like, was that necessary? I mean, I don't know. I decided to do a bit of dry fitting with the doors to see if I wanted them on or off, and decided they'd probably be better open, not off, so I could have people potentially inside shooting out or looking out or loading up or something fun like that. So just more versatility, leaving them open than closed. Right, so one of the last things I did was to assemble the rocket pods. The instructions are pretty clear, but they still just don't line up like they should, and they are a little bit finicky to put together. Essentially, you assemble the cylinder, and then you put the front and rear of the rocket pod into the cylinder, and then you adhere that to 2 pieces of mounting that then mount to the underside of the Huey itself. And really it's the underside of the Huey that gave me more trouble than anything else. Initially when I installed these, I realized I had flipped the mounting assembly to the wrong side, but that was a little hiccup. It wasn't hard to fix. Okay, so I'm at a good pausing point to sort of give you my overview of the build so far. A little over 2 hours in, and for the most part, I'm happy with it. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect kit by any means. There are gaps in all of the seams just because things don't fit together perfectly. There's this hole that was in the top portion of the hull, just a production error. It's like this crescent moon hole, like the light shines through it. So that's a little quirky. The front of the hull here didn't line up perfectly. Just went from scraping off the connection points. I think I just made like a little gap. The plastic itself is very thin, very soft, very easy to damage and break. Not all of the pieces that need to be glued on have like clear connecting points. Specifically like this handle up here, just very like, it shows it in the picture that you're supposed to assemble it to the top, but it shows 2 dots on the top of the hull and they are not here. Like they were not on top. Little goofy stuff like that just, you kind of guess. There's also the rocket pods are not assembled perfectly. They just weren't lining up with the grooves in the bottom. So I had to just use the Tamiya extra thin cement to melt the plastic and get it to set right. It does look symmetrical. It does look good from top and bottom. I like that the blades move. That's cool. The back blades do not, but not a big deal. I just need to make some decisions on like what I'm going to do with it. Is it going to be, flat on the ground in the diorama, or are we going to try and make it look like it's taking off or landing? And then there's also the plastic windows to put on, as well as these doors. That's I'm probably going to adhere to the side here so they're open in any case, and then maybe not even bother with the plastics in there, because I think it's just going to create too much of a gap. So those are like a couple little things to figure out. But once the rain stops here, I'm going to prime this up and get started on painting it. Probably going to do the teeth like you saw in the cover here. I'll probably do something like that, but hand painted. But I think for now, what I'm going to do is pause on any further progress, and we'll go in, like we'll get into the next build. Maybe build the But until I make some more decisions on what the diorama is going to be and how much battle damage this is going to have, I'm going to pause on it for now and then start on the next vehicle, which will be this M48A2A3 Patton. So if you have not subscribed yet, if you're interested in seeing everything built piece by piece in this vlog style format of video, please hit subscribe and make sure your notifications are turned on so you don't miss the next video. I'm going to try and get them out every other day. I'm a little bit behind on this one just because life is busy like that. But once I get into a groove and get moving on things, it should start to come together pretty quickly. I mean, as we go through, I'm thinking that this entire build might take 2 or 3 weeks till the diorama is complete. Hopefully not much longer than that, but life happens, like I said, and this is meant to be fun and a journey together and a community project as much as we can make it. So drop your comments in the comments below. Let me know what you think, what would be fun. Maybe we can find some fun things to write on the side here, or maybe explore different options than the teeth on the front. That could be fun too. I'm open to ideas. All right, guys, if you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Check out my other videos. I've done a few 172 kits already. They're tanks and various infantry. This is my first Vietnam helicopter, which is pretty cool. I love the Huey. It's iconic of the era, and I'm really excited to have it in the arsenal, even though it's imperfect and incomplete for now. Once it's done, I think it'll look really fun. And real quick, here's a look at the U.S. infantry that I painted next to the Huey so we can kind of get a sense for what they look like to scale. The helicopter looks a little small in my opinion, but maybe that's because it's designed for wargaming and usually vehicles are a bit smaller. I'm excited to see what it all looks like together. This is really exciting. It's coming together little piece by piece, literally. Thanks for watching.